Central Luzon State University is not only recognized as one of the most prestigious state universities in the country, but also for its vibrant and unique community, set within a lush, eco-friendly environment that inspires and supports its students. While CLSU has evolved over time, remnants of its rich history remains serving as the foundation for its ongoing innovation and commitment to producing globally competitive graduates. Join us as our group delves into the highlights of the past.
My, what a spectacle! You act as though the world has ended because the internet is gone for a moment. Let me take you back to time when students here at CLSU, or should I say CLAS, didn't rely on Wi-Fi or smartphones to connect. Back in 1925, there was no internet and no cell phones. Instead, the student used something magical: letters. In 1925, CLAS had its very own post office. Students wrote letters to communicate with their loved ones no matter how far away. The post office was a lifeline for students. Imagine the joy of receiving a letter from home, or the excitement of sending your thoughts across miles. Each word carried meaning, written with care. The post office connected to the world just as the internet does today.
Yes, good morning April, and good morning to the team.
So, sir, can you please briefly describe CLSU Post Office?
Yeah, thank you very much for choosing me to be your resource person for your task under Dr. Moyano. Talking about our post office, which is very significant in the CLSU community. It was established in 1925, and it becomes the administration building of our earlier leaders. Come the World War in 1946 and down the line, it was affected due to the battle of the Filipinos and the conquerors. Okay.
Do you think the CLSU Post Office reflect to the Philippines colonial past? If so, in what ways?
That's part of the colonial past, because the structure itself gives us idea that we pattern the structure to the West's. As we can see, the structure, it has the mimicry of the structural engineering of the West's.
How do you see the role of this landmark to the Philippines' cultural identity?
It has many role, specifically during the time when technology is not that widespreadly used. For example, it becomes a mode of communication for long distance situations. Two, it becomes a community hub, since many of us during that time flocks to the post office. There are too many people going there, and it becomes a communication hub. During those times, they are chatting and giving information to each other. To a cultural exchange, given the fact that they are going there, therefore the cultural exchange is emanating from its or from among them. It's actually a way of government services also, since the government is providing the people communications by dropping the letters there, and they are moving the letters from one place to another. Another one is that it becomes a literary and education purpose. Literary and education purpose, because there during that time we are communicating with letters and prints, and so with this, lovers are actually exchanging information through that. Maybe it's a poem, it's a story, and the likes. It also it also gives us sentimentality, since the nostalgia that we are facing or we are experiencing during that time are actually part of the culture that we have cultivating in each of us, April. Three, the last, it may give us the national identity, because there are in those times there are areas without post office. And mind you, this is one of those post offices where number is assigned to us. For example, Muñoz is 19 and we are 20. 3119 and 31120.
In time of modernization, how this landmark was affected, its preservation,
Oh, yeah.
identify the challenges in maintaining this.
Thank you very much. Nowadays, sad to say, we are not maintaining our post offices, not just in CLSU, but the entire country, or maybe in the entire world, because the advent of technology gives us the leeway to easily send messages from one person to another. However, the deterioration of our lasting communication with people are also deteriorating. It's dying, and it's too easy for us for example, it's too easy for the young ones to hurt people. As you can see, there are several relationships being maligned and being affected with how the communication nowadays is being done through the net. Unlike before, that letters and communications are through mail and through post offices. So the post offices is a living, actually is a living witness on how we value relationship.
Thank you, sir. How does this landmark stand out, particularly as a representation of cultural past?
Ayon, this is, as I've said, this is actually a good way of letting people know that we value relationship. Valuing one's relationship is very important, and the living proof to that is a post office. Two, that the cultural exchange, when we flock to the different hubs or the different post offices, we are actually making sure that everyone's connection with people are okay. Unlike now that we are only communicating through the net, remember that the net has no emotion. And when we go to the post offices, we are actually making it sure that the emotions as they share with us, whatever they have in mind, are actually the same as what they were thinking. And so I can see that we have to at least make sure that post offices will still continue to operate.
Thank you, sir. How do you think this landmark be a tool to educate the young ones about history?
A very big one. Through post offices, through mentioning this, just like what you are doing now, through Dr. Moyano, we are given the chance and the opportunity to look at how post offices are being used. And we can probably, as you become teachers, you can probably say to your students that post offices are a very good indication of one, good relationship, two, constant communication, three, national identity, four, cultural exchange, and five, perhaps a resilient way on how we can make the family stronger or the relationship stronger, though it's not our relatives, if it's just a friend, it's okay, something like that.
And how would you compare the perception of people toward this side during the colonial past and present?
During the colonial and the pre-colonial, the colonial states, and the post-colonial states, we are valuing more these structures. However, nowadays, seldom that we can see people valuing the post office. In fact, we are just passing by through the post offices without even glancing to the post office. And since there are limited informations about post offices, and people are just looking at it, just simply a part of the structure in that area, without even giving importance to its own contribution to the community, to our culture, because basically these shapes our culture during our time. But nowadays, it's no longer like that.
Thank you, Are there any initiatives preserving its colonial past?
Uh, Talking about preservation, it will always depend on our leaders, local leaders, for example, barangay captain, barangay officials, and of course with the collaboration with our leaders in the university. So, if this will happen, I think the university has the initiative to preserve that, and they are actually communicating with the NCCA to come up with a renovated structure of our post office.
Thank you, sir. And for the last question, how do you think this landmark contribute to the conversation about identity and cultural pride?
A big one actually. As I've said, though the one we are communicating is in other places, say for example US, in other Asian nations, Japan, Thailand, Korea, Indonesia. By merely exchanging informations about what we have here, they may probably be having a clearer view of the situations, the place that you are living in. For example, you will describe CLSU, even without them going here, but by merely describing what we have here, then they could probably have a picturesque situation in their mind. So that's a very good one, since you are also practicing your writings, your creativity, your way of communication. And then probably as they read that, they will also do the same. So the development, the holistic development of an individual is actually being done through writing. And post office has a very significant contribution to that, since once we drop our letters, then the postman will deliver the letters to the destinations.
The CLSU Post Office is more than just an old building. It's a part of Filipino history and culture. Built in 1925, its design reflects the influence of Western colonizers, but it also became an important place for Filipinos. As Dr. Virgin Dilla explained, the structure itself gives us the idea that we patterned it to the West. Despite its colonial roots, the post office served as a hub where people sent letters, shared stories, and built relationships. It connected communities and even helped shape national identity. However, with the rise of modern technology, its role has faded. Dr. Delia noted, nowadays, sad to say, we are not maintaining our post offices because the advent of technology gives us the leeway to easily send messages from one person to another. The post office tells the story of how Filipinos adopted a colonial structure and made it their own. Its Western-inspired design reminds us of our colonial past, but the way people used it, writing letters, exchanging ideas, and strengthening connections, shows how it became part of Filipino life. As Dr. Dillo highlighted, it becomes a community hub, a cultural exchange, given the fact that they are going there. Today, post offices are often overlooked because technology has made communication faster. However, something important has been lost. Letters carried emotions and effort that modern messaging cannot fully replace. Dr. Delia said, unlike before, communications are through mail and post offices. The post office is a living witness to how we value relationships. This change reflects a larger issue of how modernization can sometimes erase traditions that once brought people closer. The CLSU Post Office is a symbol of history, connection, and identity. Preserving it is not just about saving an old building. It's about keeping a part of Filipino culture alive. As Dr. Delia said, it gives us sentimentality. The nostalgia we are experiencing during the time is actually part of the culture we are cultivating in each of us. Sharing its story with younger generations can teach them the value of relationships, effort, and tradition. Even in today's fast paced world, the post office reminds us of the importance of meaningful connections and the need to protect our cultural heritage.
In essence, the CLSU Post Office is a testament of the changing and evolving nature between tradition and modernity, as well as the interplay of history and culture of the Philippines. Today, it now serves as a reminder of the past where it is once a vital hub to connect. As technology advances and reshapes our world, it is important to recognize such landmarks that once brought communication to take place. The post office reflects the power of human interaction as well as the importance of cherishing our roots and understanding our identity. By means of preserving and sharing stories from our past, it fosters our appreciation to human connection and cultural heritage that help mold our society to where it is now.